All right, y'all. Hopefully you can see my screen. I spent a disproportionate amount of time today creating a little deck of information. And these are super easy, and I'm kind of joking. I didn't spend much time at all. But I think that this conversation is really important for us to have candidly. You know, a lot of agents get their license, and we honestly think that the phone's going to start ringing and my life's going to be different just because I got this piece of paper. I did the work. I did my 120 hours here in Ohio, or however many hours it takes down in Kentucky, and now I'm ready. I'm ready. I know what to do, and I'm ready to grab the bull by the horns. And what so many of our first year agents find out is that that's not how this world works. That's not how this career becomes a career. And so I don't know if you guys have read any stats. The title of this class, this session here, is 5 Reasons Most Agents Fail. And I know it sounds like a huge negative. It is kind of a negative thing. None of us want to fail. I think we'd all agree. If I can give you the blueprint of how to be successful, to find the opposite of failure, then my hope is that you'll avoid these pitfalls that apparently 87% of agents fail within their first 5 years. The number that I just read earlier today is that statistics say that 90% of agents their first year go away from real estate. I'd love some of your input. Why do you think that might be? Why do y'all think maybe 90% in the first year, 87% within their first 5? Why do you think they might go elsewhere?
Maybe because
they're not successful.
Not successful. Okay. Henry, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably because they're not successful and they feel defeated, so they're kind of like, this is not for me, so I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's probably because they don't devote the time.
Don't devote the time. Yeah.
Too many.
All these things are 100% accurate. It's very personal, right? So each person has different reasons why they might not feel successful, and success is defined differently by all of us. I think that'd be fair to say. Like, my success this year is going to be completely different. I'm in my 4th year than somebody like Kevin, who brand new just got into real estate, and that's fair and that's okay. Our goals and what we deem success as will evolve and will change. Now, I can't lie. This number on the screen, 87% of agents fail within their first 5 years. I'm only in my 4th year. I feel like I'm on a different trajectory, and yet this number still scares me. Like, man, I don't want to live my life out of fear, but at the same time, like, if I know this number exists and I really love what I'm doing, then I'm gonna pump the volume to 11 and try and get to be even more successful. I was very blessed. I just got an email from, I don't know if all of you guys get emails from HomeSnap. HomeSnap is this realtors app, and I hardly ever use it, but I'm registered with them for some reason. I use it for lot lines. So if you all have HomeSnap, it's a free app that you can download, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You can pull up your coordinates, and the home lot lines will pop up. So it'll show you boundary lines. So especially important out in the country. Anyways, I got an email from them saying that I was in the top 5% of all realtors for the first half of 2022. I don't say that to brag. All I mean by saying this is that, like, I'm on a good trajectory to not be in that 87%. So the question then becomes, well, what separates the 13% from the 87%? And you guys mentioned, 1 or 2 of these things. I've come up with a list of 5 things. I like numbers, easy numbers. 5 reasons that I can share with you that in my experience, my short 4 years in this industry, why people fail. But I want you guys to come at this from a different perspective. This isn't just talking about things that will make you successful as a real estate agent. These are things that are going to find you success in anything that you do. And again, although we define success differently, each of us, I think we would all agree that success can be found in dollars and cents, meaning we're making enough money to help us fund the lifestyle that we want to live. We've defined success as free time to spend doing what you'd prefer to do instead of being told what you need to be doing. So Kevin, going back to my Walmart days, you have a set schedule. You have a schedule, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you have to be there X, Y, Z hours. And some of the time you don't want to be there during those hours, I would assume. I think that's fair to say for us all. When we worked a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, you're told when to be there. I define success as I have complete freedom in my schedule. That's a beautiful thing. I was able to get my 8-year-old on the bus today for his first day of school. That's beautiful. Instead of having to be at a Walmart store or wherever you need to be. So the question then becomes, what separates the 13%? And I'm gonna be real blunt with y'all today. This is not the happiest topic because we're talking about failure. Failure can be good as long as you're failing forward. Failure as defined by this conversation is failure means not meeting your goals so much so that you leave the industry completely. So hang with me here. The first thing that separates the 13% from the 87% is your schedule. Jessica, you raised your hand.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, okay, no problem. I thought you had a question or something. So Brad, you mentioned this. You don't dedicate time, and that's why you said a lot of agents fail their first year. I think we're all on this call here within our first year, maybe year and a month or so. Let's talk a little bit further down this piece here. When I say schedule and time dedication, what do you feel the 13% are doing that the 87% are not doing to find success in real estate? Open conversation.
I would say dedicating the time to lead gen every morning or day at some point.
Agree. What else?
Being learning based.
Okay, so like dedicating time to learn. Who here has a schedule? And this is okay, I'll make this rhetorical. You don't have to answer this question, but I need you to actually answer this in your own head. Do I have a schedule that I can follow? A schedule to me means my Google on my phone. It's literally on me all day long. It's called Google Calendar. Okay, there's an app for this, Google Calendar. It's chock full of different things that I have to do at different hours of the day. We've had classes on this, so this isn't new to anybody, and this isn't the first time we've talked about your schedule. For somebody else, I know I've talked with agents in the past who are a little old school, and that's fine. Whatever works for you. We have paper calendars. We have planners. We have all kinds of different tools that we can utilize for schedules. You can set alarms on your phone. There are zero excuses anymore for an agent who wants to be successful to not have their schedule on them. So the rhetorical question again that I want you to answer is, do I have a schedule? And then answer this truthfully. Do I follow it? You know, Kevin, with Walmart, I'll say this. I believe Walmart helped me immensely when I got into real estate because I knew how to create a schedule and how to follow my schedule. I was where I needed to be when I needed to be there. Because you're bred into that, right? So Kevin, you've got a routine.
Yep.
And you're to scan out at certain times of the day. You're to restock at certain times of the day. You're to go through and touch up your department at certain times of the day. Is that still accurate, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So why wouldn't we then? And some of you haven't had the luxury of having jobs at organizations that are as systematized as Walmart is. However, I would assume that at some point in your lives, you've worked a job that required you to be there from X to Y and do this function at this time, this function at that time. You had a routine. What I'm talking about here with this first downfall of why agents don't succeed is because they don't set a schedule. Therefore, there is no routine. And when there is no routine, you will fail. And as your coach, I don't want you to fail. Part of this schedule is getting on at 1 o'clock each Thursday. I appreciate those of you guys who are on the call. You're pretty religious about showing up. I love it. The other 3/4 of folks in my coaching program, it's not a part of their routine. And so it's not important to them. And guess what's likely going to happen to them in the next year to 4 years? They're probably going to fall away from real estate simply because they're not prioritizing education. What Victor says, putting time into your schedule to be learning based. So what are some things that should fall into our schedule? Brad, you started with lead gen. What should that look like in terms of our schedule? If I want to be the top, I want to be the top 13% who stays in this career.
Well, I would say we have to do it every day, and we have to dedicate a certain time block to do it every day. Stick to it.
You said time block. My first year in real estate, I had no idea what people meant when they said time block. I was like, what does that even mean? Because I'd never used that terminology. A time block is simply a chunk of time that you're dedicating to doing a certain task. So as Brad's saying, lead generation. A full-time agent or a part-time agent, the more lead gen you do, the better off you're going to be. The Red Book, otherwise known as the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, says that you should lead gen for at least 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. So in my schedule, what would that look like? They say from 9 to 11 is the best lead generation time. So what that should look like is I block out on my Google Calendar 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. That's a real simple rule to put in place. And then guess what happens from 9 to 11 on those days? I actually do the work. The 87% of agents that fail, they don't have a schedule, or if they do, they don't follow it. What else should be on our schedules?
Like admin work, following up with anything that's in contract, emails, title company, lender, things like that.
Absolutely. And when should that happen, Lauren? When in the day should that happen?
Before or after lead gen.
After lead gen. Nothing is as important as our lead gen. Therefore, Gary Keller recommends that it's the first thing we do each day. Now, let me say this and then talk about those of you who are part-time. So Kevin, you are employed elsewhere. Patrick, Henry, you guys have other jobs. I get it. And at the same time, I'm not going to create excuses for y'all. If you want to be successful, you're going to find time blocks in your day. So let's just say, Kevin, in this example, you're working, or Henry, you work, let's say 9 to 4. When could you, in your schedule, create dedicated time to lead generation or to follow-ups or to admin work?
Like 4:30 to like 6 o'clock.
Yeah. If we want to be successful, I could come up with tons of excuses for why, as a part-time realtor, I'm tired. I can't get to it today. Okay, that's cool. But in a year, you're likely not going to have closed deals enough for you to feel successful. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to beat this horse till we're blue in the face, but your schedule is the number one thing that I can think of that will prevent you from being successful. So my key takeaway from this is, if you don't have an existing scheduling device, such as a phone, a planner, a calendar, get that today. Don't create any excuses. Don't let anything get in your way. Your number one hindrance from finding success is a schedule that you will follow. The best schedule to have is the one that you'll follow. We're gonna move on. Number 2, the number 2 reason that separates the 13% that are still thriving in real estate, making tons of money and having fun, is discipline. As a productivity coach, my job in a perfect world is to hold us to a certain standard. And one thing that I've found, it is impossible to track y'all's stats because we don't have a discipline in place. Y'all probably aren't tracking your own stats. Okay, and don't take it personal. This is me going where y'all don't want to go. Okay, you have got to create disciplines. I have a cyberbacker who reaches out to y'all each week, and she asks you a couple questions. Most of y'all don't answer the phone, don't reply. Why? Probably because you don't know the numbers yourself, and or you don't want to report because maybe you're a little embarrassed that you didn't do enough this past week. So if we're going back to number 1, we've got a schedule, but do I have the discipline to stick to that schedule? My first year, speaking completely transparently, after I quit Walmart, like 3 months into being in real estate, because I had a couple transactions that closed, I found it really hard to be disciplined with my schedule. You know, Brad, you recently quit a lifelong full-time job in pursuit of this. I'm assuming that you found challenging times sticking to a schedule because you've got flexibility now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it took a minute to try to put a schedule in place, and then discipline was the second step from that, and then I'm just now comfortable with that.
So don't be offended when I say we sometimes struggle. It's human nature to struggle. Once you're given some flexibility and some freedom, it's hard to not just want to be free and not do anything. And I identify. So sticking to a schedule is where your discipline will really allow you to thrive. Willpower, I don't know that I can't teach willpower. I can push you towards it or self-discovery of it. But at the end of the day, if you have the willpower to stick to your schedule, be disciplined, you'll be really successful in this industry. But if I'm not closing enough deals to where I find that I'm able to say I'm successful in this industry, then I have to question my own willpower. do I really want to be successful in this industry? Because if I'm not willing to put the work in, then the answer might be no. Mental strength, that's another one of those things. And when I say mentally strong, I'm talking more about confidence, most likely here. Confidence in your abilities to do the job, to be disciplined about having a laser focus on your future. And then excuses or results. A lot of us have taken bold. This is a bold rule, bold law. You can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. If any one of you have played sports in the past, or I know cheerleading, gymnastics, any type of competitive sport, likely you had a coach, and likely when you didn't perform the way you know you should have, your coach probably whooped your butt a little bit. And that coach was trying to breed in you discipline, so that the next time that opportunity came up, you'd take advantage of it. That's where I want to help. I want to help y'all. But if we're unwilling to be disciplined enough to keep track of our own numbers, to pursue success actively, I can't do it for you. This is a being a productivity coach in real estate. I'm just going to speak vulnerably for a second. It's challenging because not everyone wants their own success as much as I want it for y'all. We can have calls till we're blue in the face. I can point you in the right direction, but if at the end of the day, you don't have the discipline to go do the things that we know we need to do, you won't find success. Therefore, I feel like a failure as well. Discipline is just that, and doing what you know needs to be done, regardless of what hurdles come up. Okay, so let's say this is real life. Let's say my kid gets sick, or I get sick, and I don't feel up to lead generating today. I don't feel up to working today. What would a disciplined agent do about that?
Probably do it anyway.
Either push through it or we do it double the next day. I ain't gonna lie, I had COVID a couple months back. It zapped me. I didn't feel good. Didn't feel good at all. So I had to push a lot of what I needed to get done to the next day. Or maybe it took 2 days and then I had to double down. End of the day, a disciplined person gets the job done and there's no excuses. I wake up and I don't want to lead gen. I don't want to make those phone calls. I make the first call and everything becomes easier immediately. Mentally strong also means getting out of our own way. Moving on to number 3. This goes back to execution. This is a lot of these laws just go right hand in hand. Execution means I'm going to do what needs to be done. I'm a person of action. The 13% of realtors that stay in the game are people of action. We don't just talk about stuff, we actually go do. So I can say I'm going to lead generate on Saturdays because I don't work on Saturdays, my other job, and I'm going to do door knocking. If I say it in my head, or if I establish I'm going to do this in my schedule, guess what? I go execute it. Or if I don't execute it, I should expect to fail. And I don't like that feeling. People of action are what move this world forward. People who just want to stay inside and bitch and complain are the people that move the world backwards. Be a person of action. People of action are positive. People of inaction, typically negative, pessimistic, glass half empty. People that go do things find success, even if you quote unquote fail when you're doing these things. Meaning, let's say I try something new and it fails miserably. I try to do a community event and I only get one person to show up. Well, I may have failed, but I learned a lot from that event, right? I learned what not to do. I learned what worked well. And therefore, next time I do it, I'm going to do it better. So that's a positive type of failure, but at least I did it. How many of us aren't executing on what we know needs to be done? And again, rhetorical question. How many times have I told y'all that we need to get 100 real estate conversations every single week? And how many times do we not do it? The roadmap to success in this industry is simple, but it's not easy. It takes your time and it takes your actions. So if I've only had, I'm just going to use an example. Maybe my goal is to have 12 transactions a year, one a month. And maybe year to date, I've only got one. Well, I need to be very serious and ask myself, what am I not doing then? Regardless of what my goals are. If my goal was 36 and I'm a third of the way there, what am I not doing that needs to be done? And that leads us to this fourth point. You have to be willing to learn and you have to pivot. So if my goal is 36 transactions and I've only done maybe a handful or not 36, what do I need to change? What do I need to go be willing to learn? How can I pivot or adjust? Pivot just simply means adjust course. If I'm going this way and this way is not getting me to 36, what do I need to change in order to get to 36? The likelihood is you're not doing the right things to get you to your goals. And my goal as your coach is to see you through to your goals, because every single one of you on this call have different goals. If it was the same across the board, then this job would be simple. Like we would just compare everyone to everyone, but we can't do that. I've had one-on-ones with a lot of you. And we've kind of gone through the practice of how many conversations do you need to have in order to meet your goals? And moral of the story is, for every single one of the people that I've had conversations with, you can all meet your goals if you just have 100 real estate conversations a week. And I mean fruitful real estate conversations. I don't mean if text message is all I've been doing for the first 7-8 months of the year, and I only have a handful of transactions, guess what? I should pivot and I should change to something else, because the texts obviously aren't working. We talked in bold this week about working on your business and not working in your business 100% of the time. What that simply means is, am I taking a pause every once in a while and taking a step back and looking at my results and how I'm getting to where I've gotten? Because if you never pause and look at what's gotten you where you are, then you'll never shift gears and change. You'll always keep doing the same thing you've done. And it's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Well, if I'm only ever sending messages on social media and I only have one closing, I need to change. And I can't do it for y'all. I want to, I'd love to have y'all join us. We tried something for several months, and I think we had a couple agents join us once or twice. We did team lead gen. End of the day, you've got to be coachable. The most successful people are coachable, meaning they've got, going back to what Victor said, you're learning based. You always want to learn more. You're aggressively seeking knowledge. And that just doesn't mean necessarily for me, but like going into your office. So, Kevin, Henry, Patrick, whenever you guys have the ability to go physically into your office, please do. I promise you, you'll learn a ton. Brad shared with me just a month or two after he got his he's only been licensed a few months, but Brad shared, hey, I love coming to the office because I learned so much just by hearing the conversations that go on with Victor and Lauren and myself. Put yourself in positions to grow. We can't just sit in our house and expect to blossom into a beautiful flower without the help of a little bit of water, sunlight, good soil. The office can be those things for us. The office ain't going to come to you, though. Adjust when needed. That goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're not achieving the goals that you desired, what are you doing to change it up? And also, like, I didn't write this down, but getting out of your own way, getting out of your comfort zone. We talk a lot about comfort zones. And it's a challenging conversation because we all want to be comfortable. We all want to feel safe. We want to feel like we're not going to get rejected. My first year in real estate, I only sold 15 homes. And looking back, I could have done way more, but I got in my own way so much. It took me so long to gain the comfort or to get comfortable moving out of that comfort zone a little bit to where I could make cold calls, to where I could go door knock. One point I just said, man, if I don't aggressively pursue these uncomfortable things, and I'm going to use air quotes, uncomfortable, because they're only uncomfortable to me in my own head. It's my own head telling me that I can't do these things, and it's ridiculous that happens, but we all go through it, so I can identify. But if I don't shift something, pivot, then I'm never going to achieve my goal, which is to leave retail completely and never look back. So I want to be an encourager of doing the uncomfortable thing. If you don't want to film a video because you're uncomfortable, we've had this conversation on my team, film the daggone video and get over yourself. Because you wanted to sell X number of homes, and yet you're unwilling to do the work that we say will get you there. It's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to your goals. It's not fair to your family for you to be in your own way. So don't be afraid, guys, because I've been right where you're at. And feel free to ask questions when you come across these hurdles that you have to jump over. Say, hey, Josh, man, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with going door knocking because I just don't know what to say. I don't have the perfect script. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to wear. I don't know what time of day. Holler at me. I want to be a help to you. Because I was right where you were at. And if I didn't have a coach my first year, and I'm going to go back to my first year real quick. I came to coaching every single time with something I wanted to bring up to my coach. I aggressively pursued, my coach at the time was Tabitha. I would call her off the chain. I texted her off the chain because I wanted to learn this. I want to learn that. I wanted to learn this. And it's led me to be pretty successful in this industry so far. And I want the same for y'all. So don't hesitate at all. Y'all have my phone number. Reach out. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy about it. We're all struggling with something. I'm struggling with stuff too right now. I'm struggling on how to make my business bigger, my life bigger. But I'm not nervous anymore about reaching out to my sphere or cold calling. I'll do all those things because it's a muscle you have to learn how to flex. But if we want to end up like the 13%, which is what you all got into this business for to be successful, then you have to be understanding that sometimes we got to change. And change can be uncomfortable. I know. I think that the last thing that gets in our way is, honestly, at the end of the day, we find that we're just not passionate. about this industry. Most of us get into this industry, maybe we had a great experience buying a home. Maybe we love interior design and want to focus more on that. Maybe we love working with people and helping people with their large purchases. Maybe we just watched HGTV one day and said, that looks fun. But if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to succeed, because if you're not passionate, why would you spend the time investing in something you don't love? So the real question is whether or not you want to succeed in real estate. And again, this whole coaching is not meant to be tearing y'all down or negative. It's shining a sincere spotlight on why those other 87% don't make it and why you can. I'm confident that each of you have passion about this industry. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent the time, effort, money dedicated to getting your license. Step one, done. You've proven that you've probably got the passion for it. Now, do you want to succeed? Because if you want to succeed, then you'll take items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you will change today. Or if you feel good about where you're at right now, great. Keep doing what you're already doing, but please, let's be honest with ourselves. And after this call, say, hey man, I realize I don't really have a schedule that I follow. Get one. Or, I realize I have lots of questions and I never reach out to Josh. Reach out to me, please. Or I'm struggling on how to execute X, Y, and Z. I really wanted to send out that mailer, but I just don't know how. Reach out. Aggressively reach out. And if you've got a peer, maybe you reach out to your peer in the industry. If you got a friend, a neighbor, a family member that's in the industry, like reach out, bounce some ideas off of them, attend classes. Keller Williams, one of the major benefits to Keller Williams is that we have so many training opportunities. All you have to do is attend. And we can create excuses for why we can't attend, or we can get results from when we do attend. A full-time employee at a Walmart or Chase Bank or wherever else we're working these days, like, it's easy to create excuses, but then can I go find a recording? I want to aggressively find a recording of that. Kevin couldn't make it to coaching a week or two ago or whatever, and we said, hey, a recording will be available. Absolutely, we'll get that on there. We've got a YouTube channel. If y'all didn't know, we have a YouTube channel that we store all of these coachings on. So if you want to go back and say, oh yeah, why did Josh say that realtors fail and I don't want to fail, so I'm going to go review that? Like, that's on our YouTube channel. I've shared the links with all of y'all. If you don't have that email, if you need that email resent, holler at me. I'd be happy to send you the link to the YouTube channel so you can catch up on stuff. But at the end of the day, I can't create the passion for you. I can give you all the skills, all the tools. You've got to love it. And you've got to love it so much that you're willing to spend and dedicate the time. You're willing to be disciplined, laser focused. And through my discipline, I'm going to execute. Willing at the same time to change, shift gears, go a different direction. These are the things that will find you success. I promise. I promise. Trust me. I had to tell my 8-year-old yesterday to trust me on something. And an 8-year-old doesn't want to trust you on anything because they want what they want and they want it right now. But he trusted me. And when it was all said and done, I asked him, I said, Jackson, weren't you glad that you trusted me? He said, yes, Daddy, you're the best dad ever. Now, you don't have to say those things to me. I just want you to trust me on these things. I've been where you are. And I promise you, if you get a schedule in place, You have the discipline to follow it. When you're following it, you're executing what needs to be done, and you're willing to learn from things that aren't going right. You're willing to adjust course. You're willing to reach out to me or a friend or a peer or your team leader when you have questions. You're going to distance yourself mightily from those other 87%. Hopefully this was good. Hopefully this is a completely different gear for me to go down, but I really feel that it's important for us to all hear this stuff. We have a young lady, Simone, who is getting her real estate license. She was on a call with me earlier today, and I invited her on because this would be good information to know before getting your license, wouldn't it? Like, hey, these are the major pitfalls that most realtors come across. And when we're talking about recruiting, I don't like to say 87% of you won't make it through your first year. That seems really negative, right? And yet it's true. Stats don't lie. If I knew these things ahead of time, then maybe I could hit the ground running when I do get my license, right? So hopefully, Simone, this was good for you and not too negative.
Yeah, I was actually a part of the percentage that, I'm not going to say I failed my first few years, but I didn't get the knowledge that I'm pretty much getting now. Like this, what you're going over, I didn't get that at my first brokerage that I was at. So it was deterring. It was unmotivating. It just made me where it's like, okay, maybe I should take a step back. So, but my heart has always been in real estate. This is something I've always wanted to do. So now it's like, I'm gonna get the information, get the knowledge that I need so I can get back in and go full force this time.
I love that. I love that vulnerability and sharing. And I think vulnerability really leads to breakthroughs and success too. So, anytime you can share what's on your heart, what's in your mind, and get that out to somebody, you're going to be a lot healthier and a lot happier. Also, somebody else has been where you're at before, I'm sure, and can learn from what you're going through. So thank you. So end of the day, guys, this conversation that we're having, take it to heart. I want to see you all succeed. Whether you're on my team, whether you're a solo agent, whether you're on somebody else's team, just want to see you be successful and live the best life that you can. I know you can do it. It's just a matter of putting some of these things to play. All right, I'm done talking. Do y'all have anything else? Any questions, comments, concerns related to the topic or not related to the topic? We've got 15 minutes. If not, I'll give you your time back. Y'all have my number. Feel free to reach out. Would love to help you. Have a wonderful week. Hopefully all the kids are back to school okay. If you got kids going to school, and if you got to go back to work, get back to work. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.